We are live, obviously. If you're watching the replay, thank you. I'll probably retitle this, depending on which direction the conversation goes, but I want to talk about fear today. So we'll get some people in here. I know that this channel is not as popular, so it might be a minute, but we'll start talking about some things once notifications come out, which I will know right off the bat. And finally, there we go. And I know that 9 o'clock is kind of the hour when a lot of YouTubers on Saturday morning will release videos. There we go. Finally got the notification. So let's put this up. Turn that down. Put the chat on. Live chat, filter, top messages. You want all messages. So there you go. So good morning. Hope all is well. We have our morning coffee live, but this is not the freight version. This is the reality version. There's my mug. There we go. We got one person in here, one thumbs up. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. So a lot of things are coming up, and we're going to talk about fear. So we'll get some more people in here. If you're watching the replay, just fast forward a little bit. Oh, look, the kitten, he wants in, he wants out. He's tripping. He doesn't need to be out here. So anyways, if you're in here, say hi. If you're just a random passerby, because I've got this in vertical form, say hi, troll me, whatever you want to do. So those of you new to my channel and probably came over because of the holster videos, I haven't done a holster video in a while, and that's because I haven't really bought any holsters in a while. You know, every new firearm owner goes through a phase where they try out different holsters, and I pretty much know what I like at this point. And it's all in the clip, I think, in the belt. Now, I have this problem. So I have this gut, right? You know, I'm still losing weight, but I have this gut. And so I can either put the pants up high, and then when I put the holster in, it's perfect. But then if my pants fall a little bit, my pants can fall down. But if it sits too low, it becomes uncomfortable, and then I print way worse. So I'm still trying to figure things out. And so, but what are we talking about today? We are talking about fear. Jordan, what's up? Max Force, you're random. What's up? Speaking of Max Force, I heard that a friend told me that International was getting rid of the Navistar name, and they're just calling themselves International Group or something like that. And so they're trying to get rid of the reputation that Navistar has, which is funny to me, that people think that they can remove a reputation just by simply changing the name, which, you know, some companies are successful at that. But I think that if you did your business with integrity and with meaning, with good intentions, and stand by your work, I think that that would probably help save a name. Either way, International's name is tarnished, and their value of their, especially the Max Force trucks, are pretty low right now. Like, good luck trading that in, right? So their best bet is to keep putting Cummins in them. Yes, I agree. I agree. Although we do have one truck in our fleet that does have a Max Force, and he's doing okay with it. But you know what? International found a way. You know, they have these killer warranties, right? But their labor charges, especially at the Rush Truck Center, are they're approaching $300 an hour. And so repairs that used to cost $1,800, $2,000 are now costing $3,000 and $4,000. and the factory's having to pay that money, with that warranty, and the system is broken, and that's kind of where this fear conversation is going to go to. Is there are some broken systems, and all it takes is a natural event or an unnatural event to show how weak our structure really is. And there's two main things that we're going to talk about. Number one, the hurricane Helene, and number two, the port strike, which, I know this isn't my main trucking channel, but I did want to talk about the implications that both of these things will have on our economy and our way of life. And everybody's always, I had heard the term, I've never heard the term October surprise up until the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, and these people talking about the election and people talking about politics, they're the ones that keep bringing up this term October surprise. And so I looked it up, and Google was like, hey man, this is what October surprise is some kind of unseen event that changes the course of elections. And it had some examples. I didn't get into the examples. I didn't read that far into it. But now I at least had an idea when these people say, what's going to be the October surprise? And to be honest with you, I don't think it matters. I mean, they could find video footage of one candidate or the other doing something completely horrible, like killing puppies or something stupid, and the press will either suppress it or exemplify it, depending on which direction the corporations want the country to go. And so what it boils down to is, yes, old school death metal obituary. What it comes down to is that we have no control. If depending on which candidate gets in the office, people think that one's going to be it's going to completely be the demise of our country, and the other one's going to be the savior of our country. And both sides think this. Notice I didn't put any names in there because both sides think this. And there are forces at play that want to manipulate that. They want to manipulate that line of thinking. They want to manipulate that aspect of human nature that says that, you know what, I have control because I have a vote. And if I feel like my vote isn't counted, or if I feel like my vote doesn't matter, then it's a form of defeat, right? And so that inflicts fear with a lot of people. But let's go back to the two events that aren't really October surprises, but they could have a massive impact on our economy. One is the port strikes. The port strikes, while everybody's, I see now hearing you. Here's the thing. While everybody's like tripped up on what's happening in Europe and what's happening in the Middle East, we're not paying attention to what's happening here. Now, if you live in a place like Portland or San Francisco or Chicago, you are seeing parts of our country degrade. There's a huge fentanyl problem, but that's not the epidemic, right? That's not the pandemic. You got more people dying from diabetes and heart attacks and diseases based around their diet than any viral thing that we've ever had, right? Well, I mean, other than the Spanish flu and issues like that, things like that, but the reality is that we're not paying attention to what's going on here. And I saw an interview, I posted on my Facebook page. I saw an interview here where the guy was talking about, it's the president of the union that's going to strike come Tuesday. um, on the ports, and he says, "I will cripple you." He is literally willing to cripple the country to get his point out. That should be a concern, right? And now you could sit there and say, well, this guy's an a-hole. He shouldn't think like that. It's a terroristic move, blah, 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 blah. That's not the issue, right? The issue is why does that person have all that power? Because we have a weak infrastructure. You know, people are worried about, you know, the fear mongering of World War III is based around nuclear weapons, right? Well, countries go to war because they want their resources. That's one of the main reasons of war. Hey, that country looks pretty cool. Let's take what they have, right? That's the since the first tribes in Africa to the big World War II, that was what it was about. It was about resources. And the reason why we came in and kicked butt is because we grew out of strength and we had a ton of resources that the other countries had depleted. So to nuke the whole place, that would be like burning your house down to get rid of the roach problem, right? It's tempting to do sometimes, but at the end of the day, that's not how you do it. You have to strategically go in there and take care of things. And the strategies they're using is through our infrastructure. It's through the websites. It's through the TikToks. It's through mental and spiritual and physical manipulation through our food, through what we digest online, through our news programs. That's how they're infiltrating. That's how they're getting rid of the roaches, which is, you know, what an opposing country might think we are. And so looking at the fear tactics, that guy is using a fear tactic. I can cripple this. Well, he's actually right. He can cripple the economy. He can cripple the country with just shutting down something that goes through millions, you know, a couple of $1 billion a week, something like that, of freight, imports and exports and the whole 9 yards, right? And I'm surprised that not a whole lot of outfits are talking about this. And it's probably good because people will panic buy. People will go out to Costco and buy all the toilet paper, and that little old lady that doesn't pay attention to news, she won't be able to get any, and you know, and it's going to make prices skyrocket because demand will go up, and next thing you know, we're dealing with another 2020 situation. And if you look at history, if you look at the last 10 years, a lot of the problems that we have now was accelerated. The degradation was accelerated due to the vid, right? The vid. Shannon, good morning. And it really brought out all of our weaknesses, both mentally, physically, and financially, right? You know, they threw out the free money, and that's what created the inflation, and but also the cost of goods. And so what the union president is saying is, like, during these extravagant times of shipping costs, the companies made billions of dollars profit versus the millions that they used to get, and they just want a piece of that. And it made me think, okay, so there's the extraordinary shipping prices that went through the roof. Was that price gouging? You know, when containers went from $3,000 to ship from China to like $20,000, was that price gouging? And all these things are going, you know, the ports have the potential to show the fragility of our system, and that's gonna create some problems. And so you're gonna have a lot of outfits trying to fearmonger you, try to sell you, try to make you think that you have some kind of control over that. The only thing I got control of right now is this coffee and maybe my bowels. That's about it. Everything else is out of my control. Where's the acoustic guitar? It's in the bedroom collecting dust. I did play it the other day. I am working on a song, but there's a few projects that I need to do, and I don't really feel like playing guitar right now. I know, that's a bummer. Um, I really would like a different acoustic guitar. So let's go to the comments here. Oh man, you guys have been commenting. Oh, I encourage the porch strike. Less imports are better, made in U.S. Old school death metal, yep. Troublemaker. Israel's ramping up the war, knowing the presidential candidates won't criticize them at this moment. No, they won't. You're absolutely right. My name is Nobody. Good morning. It's not liberal versus MAGA fight. It's Black Rock, Halliburton versus America fight. I agree with that. Rick loves Trump. That's good. Two parties are useful idiots for Black Rock and Halliburton. Brother, that's where the Democrats want us to do. Concentrate on other countries except their own. Our own, yeah. What we needed was the rail strike, but President Biden outlawed it. Yeah, but they've already said that they're not interfering on this. Now they might force them to get to the table. Like, guys, they're not even at the table right now. And when you listen to this interview, you know, I posted it. This dude's mad. He's like, I will cripple this economy. Like, and one man shouldn't have that kind of power. But essentially, look, while everybody else is worried about nukes, all it takes is like maybe 2 or 3 strategically placed bombs in space that will take out, even if you take out just cell phone connection. You don't even have to take out the power grids. Just take out the cell phone connection. And you've got chaos. I can't do my job and make money without a cell phone. You know, I mean, how do I get a hold of the drivers? I mean, yeah, I can use landlines to call the brokers who might have landlines, but that's about it, right? If I can't send an email, you know, that's a problem. I always wanted a 12 string. Yeah. They're kind of neat to play. I like the sound of them. The next quarter will be all about the positioning statement. Trump met with Zelensky because he's afraid of the neocons. Dispatch via letters, right? The only thing that gets the USA and Europe into trouble is production lines to the Far East. Being economically dependent on a foreign power is always a problem. And I agree with that, Dutch. But it's also going to ruin our exports as well. And you can have things made in America, but the materials are made elsewhere. And so this has the ability to slow down production on manufacturing. You know, I mean, just the implications are going to be pretty bad. And, you know, but we'll find a way. And look, it's not because I've been watching this fear-mongering stuff. Like a lot of the firearms self-defense channels I watch, they're preparing for something, right? They're like, you know, and so if one candidate sneezes wrong, it's plastered all over the internet about how bad our country's getting, you know, and you got like news sources like DC Shorts that show the worst of the worst, and some of the footage they're showing is like 2 and 3 and 4 years old. You know, they'll show like one incident happened like last week, But then they'll go on about how this has been happening for years. And, like another example is there's a video of a guy in San Francisco. He's riding one of those Uber cars. He's in the passenger seat with this probably $5,000 luxury dog, in his lap. And these thugs just came up to the car and they just start spray painting it and, tagging it. And the guy's just sitting there like he's not doing anything about it. It's not his car. It's not his problem. The Uber car is not doing anything about it because technically there's a person in its way, so it can't move. Imagine that. Imagine you're sitting at a light and someone starts tagging your car. Well, you can either run them over, or you can get out and punch them in the face, or you can drive away, right? But an automated car is just going to sit there and just sit there. So think about when they automate trucks, if they autonomous trucks, right? How easy will it be to hijack those things? It'll be like Mad Max, but except there's no driver in the driver's seat. You'll just be able to like pull in front of it, stop it, pull its air brakes, and take what you want. And no one thinks this through because there's billions of dollars in investments to get these systems in place because they don't want to treat the worker the fair wage to drive the taxi, to drive the truck, to and that's part of the strike in the ports is they're worried about the automation that's going to take jobs. Escape and evade, yes, escape and evade. But anyways, a lot of these are like I'll give you a perfect example. So there was an incident in a river in Wisconsin where this old man was being harassed by these young kids. By young, I'm talking 20s, right? 18 to 20, I think. And the old man at one point was knocked in the water, was being kicked and punched, and so he got out a knife and he gutted like one of them and seriously injured the other two. Well, Matt Walsh. Okay, so let me back up. So they catch the guy, they arrest him, and they try him, and he's been tried. He's been found guilty of murder, where it should have been self-defense, right? On the surface, it looks like this was self-defense. And so Matt Walsh does a video talking about how our justice system is broke. Here's proof, and goes over the court case and some video images and some of the court documentation and some of the footage from the court cams. And it makes it sound like this dude was totally railroaded, right? But when you look at the actual case, the guy fled the scene, tried to hide the knife, and they had to catch him. And then when they did catch him, he lied. Like he totally, like if you're in a self-defense incident, that's the last, he did everything exactly opposite of what you should do, right? Because of that, that's why he was able to be tried and convicted. Because he was evading. But Matt Walsh didn't talk about that. He was basically telling the whole world one side to go over an agenda of how the court systems are broken. Yes, I agree the court systems are broken. I agree that if you're involved in a self-defense incident, you're guilty until proven innocent. However, the point of this whole section is that you had a person use the information and hope that you didn't have all the information to manipulate it to an agenda that helps build his channel. Now, I like Matt Walsh. He's a very funny guy. However, this just makes me go, you know what? Don't believe anything anybody ever says, without researching it, right? I mean, don't even believe some of the stuff I'm saying without researching it. you know, and I've been known to be wrong on a few things, but what I look is the human nature aspect. What properties of the human are they manipulating? They're manipulating us through food. They're manipulating us through fear. They're manipulating us through pharmaceuticals, and so when you think of the October surprise, what's that look like? Meanwhile, we have two events: one natural, the hurricane, and one unnatural, that, you know, the port strike. Those are the things that we should be focused. Not that we can do anything about them, but if you're a truck driver, they're both important, because right now you have parts of I-40 and I-26 that have completely collapsed, right? And anybody who's driven through that part of the country knows that those aren't easy states to drive through, even with the interstates. And that the interstates are hugely needed because the side roads are not even truck passable for the most part. And so, just like the Baltimore Bridge falling down and that port being shut down for a minute affected freight rates and affected how business was done up there, the interstates being closed in Tennessee and North Carolina for hundreds of miles, that's going to create an impact at least on the local economies of those states. You have whole towns that are completely isolated because there's no way to get in and out of them. You know, I saw a report where there was the only way in and out of this one town was through helicopter, and they were using helicopters to do, you know, to kind of, you know, see if people needed anything. And so, in a land where we don't sustain ourselves with our own gardens, with our own livestock, and anything like that, we count on commercial farming, we count on the infrastructure to be in place to get our food and to get everything we need. That's going to be a problem, right? Let me go to the comments here. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the with both feet, good morning. Hope everyone's doing great. I'm doing all right. Top of the morning, bowl of the woods. Sterling is the smartest person with this chat. I'm not worried until he panics. There you go. Sterling says escape and evade. Dutch says these things record everything around them. If these things get hacked, people will have a big problem. Yes. Self-defense is not a virtuous endeavor, right? Did you see the new Matt Walsh movie documentary? It's hilarious. No, I want to see both of them, but you know, money's tight right now, so we're you know, you have to pay extra to see those films. And to be honest with you, the What is a Woman one is, it would probably make me abandon hope for us. I don't know. And then the other one, I think is like what they call a mockumentary, but the insanity of how people are reacting, that's probably what would make me sick as well. So I don't know. The fact that we live in a world where someone can ask the question, what is a woman? And you get this long, drawn out word salad, Harris type answer. If you would have told me this 5 years ago that was going to happen, I would have been like, nah, you're high, whatever, right? March 20th, 2020, I lost hope. Do you have 50 BMG? I don't know what that is. So when it comes to fear, so let's talk about that for a minute, because that was my intention of this video. If I say the infrastructure is going to go down, right, and that brings fear, well, guess what? That fear is a blessing, because now you can address why you're afraid. You know, the question why, like, what is a woman, right? My question is, why is that question why does that question even have to be asked? And when you look at the answer to that, you look at all the roots of the problem, right? So the same thing with your own self. If you have, well, I've got this project I haven't been able to work on, and I'm guilty of this. I've got a big project in my garage. I've got a big project in my room. But instead I'm sitting here on YouTube rambling like a moron. But if I ask myself, why am I having trouble? Why am I procrastinating on this project? Well, because I know that this has got to happen, and this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it's going to be hours before I can get to it, and I've only got a couple hours today. Okay? If I find myself depressed because I'm not working on the project, then I have to come up with a new strategy to work on the project, but in smaller increments. That's how my brain's working these days. And so, if I'm afraid of an ammo shortage, right? Well, that's an obvious thing. You could sit there and say, well, you should go out and buy 4 pallets of ammo, right? Which I know people that do that. But let's say I can't afford that. But I can afford $20 a month, right? So I buy a box a month. Or a couple of boxes a month. Or I get a little bit more proactive about finding the best deals online. Or go to a show where there might be cheaper, it's or work on some trade. Maybe I got some I can trade somebody that did buy the pallets, right? And so that fear is eliminated. And but then you'll have the influencer say, well, you don't have enough. If crap hits the fan, you don't have enough. And so my gauge is, well, if I got enough to get out of a situation, then I'm good to go. Right? And I don't get on YouTubes and brag about how much I do have. I had a friend of mine recently send me what he actually had, and I was shocked because he never talks about this kind of stuff. I was like, wow, dude, I'm going to your house. Financial fears. Those are valid fears. What do I do if, someone criticized me for selling my truck because now I'm completely dependent on the company I'm with, right? But I have skills, and if this company falters or goes under, I have other means of making money. Even if the economy takes a dump, I can go work for Public Works and still make money, right? I'm not 100%. So that alleviates any fear of getting laid off or fired or the company going under or anything like that. I've structured things financially that, if something, some could be completely beyond my control. I can get in a car accident, break my leg, and doesn't matter if I have a job or not. That's going to create a hardship. What do you do for that? What do you do if you have a spouse that passes away? Do you have a plan for that? And the more you can plan for things, and you got to go in some more places to do that, the more that alleviates the fears. And then you can have more peace of mind. And the more peace of mind, the more calm you can be, and the more calm you can be, and the more rational decisions you can make. And you won't find yourself full of anxiety. You won't find yourself full of fear. You'll find yourself getting some faith back, and you're able to concentrate on living in the moment, like not looking at your phone on all the YouTube notifications when you're having a meal with your spouse or your kids, right? Or being ate up with someone's live feed, while you should be spending time with a loved one, or you should be spending time working in, the garage, like I need to be. Or just, reading a good book. I could spend the time, if I'm going to sit in my chair for 3 hours instead of watching TikTok, which is very addicting and has been known to kill your attention span, I could read a good book that might actually enhance and help me in life. That's the thing with TikTok. TikTok is a manipulation tool. And YouTube Shorts are up there, Facebook News Reels are up there, but I have friends that used to be very focused individuals that used to get things done that don't get anything done now because of TikTok. And it's very addictive. It kills your attention span. It gets you that dopamine rush, and next thing you know, you're making bad decisions. You fall off your keto diet, or you fall off your carnivore diet, or you're full of fear and anxiety, so you go out and buy 4 pallets of ammo, or you start hoarding things because all the TikToks are telling you that the world's going to end, and you find yourself trying to watch a 15-minute video and you can't because your attention span has been obliterated. And don't believe me, if you say, Steve, you're full of it, TikTok is okay, then go 1 week without it. And if you can go 1 week without it, then call me up and call me an a-hole. Tell me I'm wrong. But I guarantee you that you cannot go 1 week without some kind of withdrawal symptoms, right? Sort of variety show in Branson. I wish. I need the musical chops, right? I think my dispatcher is running me too many miles per day. I'm hauling dry van. What's a good number for miles per day? Well, it depends on what revenue. I would rather make $800 a day running 200 or 300 miles than running $1,000 every 2 days for 500 miles. So I'm just gonna call you anyways, right? I'm telling you, even China's taken TikTok and said, okay, we limit the time, and they only throw things in the feed that are learning things, not the cutesy, look at my boobs kind of stuff, and that's essentially what American TikTok is. It's to push agendas that go against the spiritual realm of the Heavenly Father. Keep that in mind, Shannon, when you're on TikTok. So, but anyways, that's a different topic for a different day. And there are people that will manipulate that. When I was looking at opening my record store, people were like, "Oh, you got to have a TikTok for that." I'm like, ugh. I'll just have someone manage it. Like, I'll hire like somebody to manage a TikTok for my business, and then that way I'm not subjected to it. But you're basically using the same tools the devil does. So is that right? I don't know. So, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind, right? So the I can always tell when somebody I know is ate up with some really bad TikToks, because they'll call me and they've sent me like 14 of them, and I'm like, dude, what's going on now? What's going on in your world right now? The sun is shining, the wind's blowing, you're safe in your truck, or you're safe at home. The world's not collapsing around you. There's no one, painting your car, tagging your car. There's no one robbing you right now. Everything's fine. Just be alert. Head on a swivel. But don't live in fear. And I think that's the balance that we're all trying to find is, what's the difference between living in fear and being prepared? One time somebody accused me of living in fear because I carry a firearm with me everywhere I go. It's not living in fear. That is having a finger on the pulse of what's really happening, but at the same time, I would rather use my pepper spray or some open-handed skills than to take someone's life. But if I have to, I will. It's one of those things. And And when you see some of the things that have happened on the road, especially during the Floyd riots, you have to take a measure to at least give you a little bit of peace of mind and not live in fear. So it's leverage, really. Knowledge is leverage, right? Knowledge is leverage. Preparation is leverage. Knowledge of how to grow your own food when you don't have any food goes a long way. Now, you need the materials and all that stuff, of course, but the knowledge, like in the book series that we read, 1 Second After, the the biggest commodity was knowledge. Having a doctor in your circle, having a um, we went to this homesteading expo where I learned how to process a pig, process a chicken. Um, I went hunting to learn how to process and to be able to get my own food. Um, the wife is learning gardening stuff. We're learning about composting. We're learning about growing. We're learning about self-sustain. So if crap ever does hit the fan and we're completely, let's say I-44 goes out, well, that'll be a challenge, right? So we would have at least some knowledge and the ability to sustain ourselves a little bit longer than they say somebody that lives off of TV dinners or goes out to eat every night. Um, and the fasting becomes the strength because there might be days where you go without food. I laugh at these prepper food stores that sell you, oh, this is 4 days of food, and it's like pancakes and waffles and chicken soup and um, you know it's all grain based, like American diet stuff. Like, dude, you're gonna be hungry 4 hours later. So these 4 meals that you bought for $15 sitting in a bucket that can last 20 years is a bunch of crap. Learn how to preserve meat. Learn how to preserve and ferment vegetables. Learn how to can. Learn how to those are the things that will help sustain you. Not 20-year-old processed food. You think you're going to be able to fast with that? No. Someone's just going to shoot you for it because they're having sugar withdrawals if crap hits the fan, right? A lot of people watch YouTube up to 16 hours a day. Well, yeah, I mean, you got these people that go live for hours and hours and hours, and it's easy to rack up those hours. If crap hits the fan, we're all coming to live with you and Mrs. A. Be forewarned. Look, we got a house in the city, and we don't have chickens yet. My wife is part of a community garden, so she's learning a lot with that. And hopefully we'll establish our land here pretty quickly. So then it's on. I still need to learn how to process a cow. I said process a deer earlier. I was wrong. I know how to field dress a deer, but I don't know how to process it. So without hacking it to death. So, but it was interesting to learn that and look to nature. Both Order of Man and Warrior Poet Society both had really great videos talking about these kind of things here recently, and I highly encourage everybody to watch them. So, you know. But, so anyways, when you look at fear, like some of you truck drivers are running around right now fearful that you're going to have a breakdown because you don't have money to fix that breakdown. That's a valid fear. To think that your turbo goes out or your compressor goes out or your one box goes out you're done. You've got no money, no credit to fix it. And I empathize with the people that are living under those stress every single day. Excuse me. And so what happens is you burn yourself out, you become overstressed, and you literally don't have control over anything. That's not a way to live. You can't live in fear like that. And I can tell you that every time my truck was in the shop, that I was not fearful. Because I never let it. Now, was there financial hardships? Of course. I'm not sitting there like, oh, I just wrote a check for 10 grand for the turbo, no big deal. That didn't happen either. But at the same time, there was nothing that I could do other than what I've already done. And so gratitude kicks in. I'm grateful for this hotel room that I'm here. I'm grateful that I can make this repair and pay for it. I'm grateful that I'll have freight after this is done. I'm grateful that I've got a family and people that will support me if needed. Like when my leg was busted, I had a lot of people offer to pay our bills. I said, no, we're fine. We're fine. Because we had savings, because we had prepared for those things. I did not live in fear. The worst thing about my broken leg was I probably annoyed my wife. I gained about 10 pounds. And I became addicted to the dopamine of a video game on my phone. And it took me a while to get over that. So let fear be transitional instead of terminal, right? So let's say there's a massive explosion a couple of blocks down. Fear will kick in and go, whoa, wonder what that was. And then if I can keep calm, then I can figure out, okay, let's find out what that was. Are we still in danger? What can I do right now that I have control? I can't control what's coming out of the sky, but what can I control in front of me? And so that's a good point. And I would use the word concern over fear, right? Am I concerned what's going to happen during the election? Yes. Am I concerned of who's going to get elected? Yes. Am I concerned about the freight, the port strikes and the freight issues and the implications to the economy that will happen? Yes. I'm not sitting there like, everything's going to be fine. God will work it out. No, I'm not doing that, right? But I play the what if in my mind. Okay, what if this happens? Then we do this. What if this happens? We'll do this. What if this happens? If we do this? But maybe a black swan event will happen, and you're like, this is new. So let's say this black swan event happens, like, for example, the internet going out. You know, just like in that dumb Obama movie, right, on Netflix. Well, that would be a black swan event to me. And as long as I remain calm, unlike the male figure in the movie, who was not a man, he wasn't acting like one. He wasn't acting like a man. He wasn't acting like a dad. He wasn't acting like a husband. And the wife was well, I won't say the word here. That person's panicking. Not me. I'm not panicking. Because I've remained calm, because I've thought out this scenario. And if there's something I can do, I'll do it. You know, and that's why I'm working on my health, because what good's having all the ammo and all the stuff and all the self-defense things and being able to, when I couldn't even run across the street? What good's that? I'm just a loot stop, right? If I don't take care of my health. You know? And it's very interesting. You got these people that get on on the YouTubes, and they're like, oh, you got to do these self-defense positions, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to make sure you got every gun known to man, and every, you got to have this red dot, and you got to have this scope, and you got to have this thing, and you got to have this thing, and da da da, and then these are the 3 methods that I use to shoot. Meanwhile, they can barely fit in their vehicle. Kick them in the knee, and you got some cool free stuff. And that's something that these people need to realize. You need to take care of your health. You're fighting to stay alive in one sense of your life, but you're not fighting to stay alive when it comes to your own health, when it comes to your own diet, when it comes to your own well-being, right? Instead of being afraid of what, immigrant gangs are going to do, maybe be afraid of what's on your plate, because that's what's going to cause you to fail, not, and the inability to fight off some gang if that happens. Right? And so we're all focused on the wrong things. Someone told me that the vice president is down at the border. Yeah, there's a huge natural disaster in the entire southeast of the country. And we're hanging out at the border trying to lie to people, telling them that you're not the problem, right? So, look, things are jacked up, man. We've lost the republic. Once people recognize that, then we can start fixing things, right? Once you figure out that we've lost the republic, and you'll be good to go, because now we can fix things. It's like an alcoholic. Once you admit that you're an alcoholic, then you can start treating the issues. And you can't treat the issues unless you treat the symptoms. Look at the symptoms. What's causing the alcoholism? Well, this, and this, and this. Well, address those, and then you can fix it. But you have to recognize that the problem's there in the first place. And that's where we're at. So, anyways. Today I'm going to a person that's having their 80th birthday party. And that's important, right? Because we don't know how much longer they're going to be here. And so when the world is telling you to be afraid, and it's okay to be concerned about things, but don't let it rule your life. And it's hard. Sometimes that's justified. Like, for example, I never went and got my own authority. I had people telling me, get your own trucking authority, over and over and over. Like, you have the potential, you got the tools, you got the knowledge, you can do it, right? And I had too many concerns that enabled me to do that. Something was in the back of my head saying, don't do it, because that will ruin your plan, which the plan was to get out of the truck in 5 years. So I stayed the course. And then when the vid hit, people were telling me again, you should get your own authority, you're going to make so much more, blah, 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 right? Tolga, you are the authority, Tolga. And I still didn't do it. I still stayed the course. Was able to eventually evolve out of the truck. Goal accomplished. Now it's just maintaining that goal. And then the crap hits the fan with this Go Highway stuff, with the ultimate war against small single truck authorities. Because I had no intentions of bringing anybody else on my authority, so there was really no point. And watching these different truck authorities, 1, 2, and 3, and 4 truck authorities go under, because of the things that I was concerned about, that justifies my actions of never getting my own authority. And it also eliminates the question, what if I did? What if that? What would have that have looked like? And I would have been like, well, this is what it would look like. It wouldn't exist now. Now, with that being said, if I would have gotten my authority and it would have failed, or I would have, you know, stopped it or whatever, then it would have at least been a journey that I learned on. Learn what to do and what not to do. And that's where the blessing is. That's where the gratitude kicks in. And so I don't look at that as time lost, but I don't sit there and do the what if, what could have been, because fear of missing out is another form of fear that people capitalize on, that corporations capitalize on. Oh, you better get in on this. And that's why everybody bought a truck when the rates were sky high, because fear of missing out. Then they put themselves in really bad situations. You're not on the trucking authority level, Toga? Toga's I have this theory that Toga's a vampire because he doesn't sleep. Because if I go live at 7 a.m., he's there. If I go live at 8 p.m., he's there. And I don't know what time it is in Turkey right now, but like, I don't think you sleep. They must have really, do they have really good coffee there? I hope so. I hope so, Toga. It's Turkish coffee to die for. It's 6 p.m. now. Okay, well, that's not too bad. I bet the coffee is great too. So, let me ask the Google something here real quick. How many days has it been since July 7th, 2024? 83 days. So, we're on 83 days of the carnivore diet. Now, let's talk about that as well. Let's do little messages. Sorry, I ruined my little filter there. Oh, the Turkish coffee kicks directly and tasty. Well, there you go. But too strong, not for everyone. Yeah, most non-American coffees are like that, right? I don't know. We've been drinking this Folgers. We have been look, here's the thing. So since the Snorelord stuff was done, I went back to buying Kirkland, you know, the Costco brand. And it's actually pretty good. But recently we passed a thing where Folgers was like $5 for a big can. And I was like, okay, we'll grab a couple of cans, you know, save money. And I don't know what happened to Folgers, but they changed their formula or something because it tastes kind of bleh, you know. So, but we're stuck with a couple of cans for a minute till we drink all of it. But the other two, there are 4 people in this house, and the other 2 are starting to drink coffee now, so we're going through it a little bit faster. So, but anyways, so we're 83 days into the carnivore thing. Now, there has been a couple of cheats, and here's what I mean by cheats. We go to a Mexican place. I've had some of the rice and some of the beans and some of the lettuce. And I do have the fajitas without the shell, without the tortilla thing. And that's been like once a month here. It really doesn't add any problems. But for the most part, I'm 98% on it. I do some actual fermented vegetables, like Costco's got like actually fermented sauerkraut. I'll do that on occasion, because what you have to realize, I know this is a completely different direction for this video, but gut health is important. And when I find my guts having problems with the amount of meat I'm eating, that's when I'll throw in some of the other things like avocado or fermented vegetables. And there's a couple of the carnivore doctors that actually promote that. Things seem to calm down, and I'm going to do a video about this particular subject. For a minute, I thought I wasn't handling the fat because my wife bought me this pork fat in a jar. Fatworks is the name of the company, and it was on sale. Well, come to find out that it had an expiration date on it, and that's why it was on sale. And I thought that I was having trouble with the fat, but it was actually just, I think it soured because every time I ate it, boom, total liquid. So I think the wife's going to use it for soap or something, but man, those birds are pissed. Um, but that's, oh, they're fighting a hawk there. Um, so, but for the most part, things are in pretty good shape. So, Shannon says I'm on day 87. Currently gained 10 pounds in a month stalled. I'm working through it, but not stopping. Got a good night's sleep and electrolytes and eating huge 1 pound ribeyes till they're all gone. Yeah, I saw your little short video there, your Aldi store. In recent months, I fell in love with filter coffee again, without the sugar, of course, which is thanks to Miss Shannon and you, and Sterling helped me a lot to get rid of the sugar from my life. Well, good deal, Toga. Good deal. I'm glad. Because at the end of the day, the majority of my weight was lost doing the keto thing. Clean keto. That was where the majority of my weight was lost. What I found is I go through a stall and then I'll lose 2 or 3 pounds. I'll go through a stall, lose 2 or 3 pounds. But fasting has to be implemented because of the years and years of damage I've done. Like I used to live off of ramen noodles and Kool-Aid, and my dad used to fry our foods in vegetable oil, and a lot of the industrial things I've been exposed to. You know, there's a lot to heal here, which is why the weight's not flying off. And to be honest with you, um, the other thing is, like on the carnivore diet, you might lose 10 pounds, but then you gain 10, but it might be in muscle. So, so again, we go to the question why. If Shannon has gained 10 pounds, why is that? And we have to address, you have to adjust, right? And stress levels, cortisol levels are a big part of that. Living in a truck is a hard life, and that adds stress just even of itself. Even if you're doing like nothing but easy loads to turn off the interstates, your cortisol levels are still more elevated than someone who's not driving. So, you got to keep that in mind. And where I found my stalls really work is when I'm fasting and or working out. That's the thing. And the weight resistance is probably more important than the 10,000 million steps that you guys are trying to do on your watches that, are pretty nice watches. But I'm giving Shannon crap about that one. But here lately, the last couple of days, when I'm like, work has been kind of weird for me. In the last couple of days, when I'm feeling blah and I've wasted too much time on the short form video stuff, and I find myself concerned about stupid things that really don't matter, my wife and I have been going on these longer walks. Like the other day, we did 6,000 steps and I didn't even realize it. One day we did 8,000 steps. And boom, a couple of pounds lost at that point. But I don't pay attention to the 2 or 3 pounds as much because, like, I could eat a full steak and drink a pot of coffee and boom, I've gained 3 pounds. So I've also gained a little beer belly. Oh, the chat goes too fast here. Let me go back here. Max Horse, Dunkin' Donuts coffee is the best. I agree. I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I've also gained a little bit beer belly without drinking the beer, but my sleeping schedule was too bad and stress level as well. It's turning back to normal, but a little bit, step by step. So what's happening with that toga is insulin resistance, right? So as long as you stay the course, and you get better sleep and you reduce your stress levels, which is what this whole video is about reducing fear so you can reduce your stress levels, um, then you'll see improvement. Pigtail, what's up? Good morning. Increasing movement is key, right? Tolga agrees. And poop regularly. Well, that's where I'll make you uncomfortable. That's where the gut health comes in. Let me show you guys something. I'll be right back. This stuff right here has been a game changer. Okay, I was going to do a separate video on this. I might still, but more people watch these live feeds than my recorded videos. This is psyllium husk, psyllium fiber. Okay, now the stuff is kind of pricey. It's like $25 a bag for this. I'm hoping to find something cheaper. Basically 1 teaspoon a day, and it helps the gut health. Now you think, well, that's not carnivore, right? It's non-GMO, it's gluten-free, no added sugars. There's only one ingredient, the fiber. That's it. That's it, right? If you look at your Metamucils, they got dextrose and sugar and all that stuff in it. And then that stuff that is non-gritty, that's clear, they've got additives in that stuff too. Now, with that being said, people are like the carnivore purists, which, you know, they're just as bad as the vegans, right? The vegan purists. I did a video on the Facebook groups of those groups. Think about, you ever like walk your dog, or you're outside looking at your cat and the cat's like sitting there gnawing on grass. You know, you can buy little pads of grass for your cat to put inside the house. And what do? They nibble on it. Plants are supposed to be medicinal, right? So that's essentially what this is. There's the plant right there. What does that look like? It looks like grass, right? So me taking a teaspoon of this is no worse than the dog or cat out there nibbling on grass because their stomach is upset. And it's been a game changer. It's been, other than the bad fat, it's helped things become easier to deal with and more predictable. And so I highly suggest that stuff. So no, we're not gonna do that, Sterling. That's gross. On your main channel, how come you never say how much you book a truck per week or per mile? Because that's nobody's business. Like, do you think my drivers want all that information out there? Okay. But if you want some numbers, I just booked a load this week, 20 stops, $15,000. So there you go. And he'll have it done in 7 to 10 days. There's a number for you, Marty. So is it hard to drink? No. It's gritty. I mean, you want a full tall glass of water like this size to drink it, but you know, I do about, imagine a beer glass. I think that's like 8 ounces. I'll do that, and you just stir it and just chug it. Chug it like it's a beer, and you're good to go. So. Here, hold the bag up for 5 seconds. There you go. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. There you go. I could send Pigtail. I could send you a picture of this stuff. Going carnivore October 1st for 31 days. Excellent. You're gonna love it. I need sugar. I crash if I don't. I had my blood sugar was 3 one time trying not to not have sugar. Well, I'm not a doctor, but so I'll keep my comments to myself. But um, and I don't know your health situation, so I won't comment on that. I think I'm going to stop coffee, sap, but I think coffee and my sweetener is the main culprit of my exhaust issues. Um, Eating grass causes my cat to barf. I think I think it's when their stomach's upset. Um, but we on occasion we'll get the pads of grass for the cats, and they like it. So, but some people do okay without this stuff. I had a friend of mine that went carnivore a couple of years ago. I think he still is, and that's what he takes, and he's had no issues with it. Um, and but the bottom line is you got to do what works for you, and it's a balance game. Shannon's trying to find a balance, and it's definitely an adjustment. And electrolytes are important. Um, and then there's some of the carnivore doctors that have, they'll nibble on fruit every now and then, and fruit being like avocados or blueberries or strawberries, something like that. I try to avoid foods with seeds for the most part. Avocado's got a seed, but it's a big one. You like take it out, boom, you're done. But it's also got some fat on it too. Good tip on the fiber. Yeah, it definitely helps. Yeah, with both feet, it's a gut health thing, right? And so your sweetener, probably get rid of that. And you can use, okay, so check this out. If you're using heavy whipping cream, look at the carrageenan or the guar gum that's in that. That will tear a gut up. So instead, I do half and half, which is half cream, half milk, both organic. That's the only ingredient. There's no thickener added. And that's the stuff that will tear up a gut too. If I'm using heavy whipping cream, my gut will flip me the bird. So, look at your sweetener. I don't think it's a coffee. I think it's whatever you're putting in the coffee. It's hard on your heart. Yeah, that's yeah. Probiotics. I've been taking probiotics too. Dairy is the devil. um, if you overconsume cheese, that will definitely cause some stoppage issues. So, and a lot of cheese have additives. The only cheese that I'll really consume is Swiss and Parmesan ungraded, like in the triangle, because the grated Parmesan that you get in the pasta aisle, that's got wood chips in it, so you don't want that. It's got sawdust in it. I switched back to half and half already. Again, thanks to you. Well, good deal with both feet. Bowl of wood. And some people handle dairy, some people don't. Josh the vegan called me and he was talking about dairy, and it was interesting what he was saying. But dairy is more of an accent. It's not like I'm gonna have this whole block of cheese. You can't do that. Um, for the most part, I'll buy a bag of Swiss slices and then use half a slice on maybe a burger patty or something. But or I'll put like avocado, like guacamole. I buy pre-made guacamole, but like it's got to be the only ingredient, right? Basically they're mixing it up for me. That's all they're doing. No additives or nothing. And you can tell because it'll brown just like that once you open it. So, not this fake guacamole you see in the dairy aisle. It's not the same stuff. No, but the half and half I do is Horizon Organic. So, Costco is good Italian cheese, no GMO. Yes, they've actually got some cheese made from raw milk, not pasteurized milk. But that stuff can be pretty pricey and it can be kind of addictive. So I tend to only buy that on occasion. Um, but yeah, a lot of your cheddars and American slices and of course the Kraft singles is not actually real cheese, but those things are You want to avoid that. But like right now, this coffee's black. Like my metal. See, it's black. Um, but yeah, the the heavy whipping cream is now there are a couple of brands of heavy whipping cream that don't have any thickeners in them. Um, they're hard to get though. They're expensive. They're hard to get, and they don't keep very long. So you find yourself consuming more. Like Hy-Vee's got this one brand that they hardly ever have in, but when they do, I buy one. It's like $9 for the bottle, and if I don't use it in 4 days, it goes bad. So because it doesn't have any preservatives in it. Just found Costco has holy guacamole individual cups, avocado and salt only. 16 small cups. There you go. That's good to dip the burger in. Um, and I know that carnivore pure is going to be that's wrong. But again, it's it helps, right? The little bit of fiber, a little bit of fat from the avocado is good for you. The little bit of fat from olive oil or coconut oil is good for you. Plants are medicinal. They're not meant to be consumed in large quantities unless you're a cow or a hippo or you know, any ruminant animal, right? Or a gorilla. Most gorillas have beer bellies. I mean, they're strong beings, but they got beer bellies, right? So, but oh, okay, Sterling. Oh, you're gonna bring that up. Okay, so the tri-tip. So, a friend of mine said, okay, the best way to cook a tri-tip is make sure you get your grill up to 400 degrees and put it in there for 14 minutes. Flip it over another 14 minutes. Should be done. Now, I'm thinking set it and forget it, right? So I preheat the grill. I got it up to 400 degrees. I put the tri-tip in it. And I look outside after about 3 minutes, and smoke is billowing out of the grill. And I can show you the grill and the black marks on it. And the temperature gauge was like on 1,000, right? This thing was on fire. So I quickly took the grill away from the porch and turned the heat off for a second, and then I turned it back on, and I had trouble maintaining the temperature, but by that time the damage had already been done. So I cooked it for the allotted time. However, I could not regulate the temperature of the grill very well, especially now that it was more outdoors in the wind. And I found myself having to cut it up and cut individual steaks because it was still super rare but crispy on the outside. So I totally jacked it up. So I need to learn. So why did that happen, Steve? Let's answer the question why. Well, I need to learn heat control. And I don't know. That's the problem with charcoal. Like, this is a gas grill. That's the problem with charcoal is it's tough to have heat control. Um, with burgers, it's easy. If it's hot enough, the burgers will cook. If it's too hot, the burgers will be cooked on the outside, raw in the middle. Which is essentially what I did with the tri-tip. So basically, all the fat and everything coming from the tri-tip set everything on fire, which is why it was 1,000 degrees, which is why it burned on the outside, did not cook in the middle because I didn't have the proper heat setting to maintain that 400 degrees. Meat is cooked to temp, ignore time, right? And so when you were talking the other day, I think it was your live feed yesterday, talking about meat control or temperature control, I need to get one of those thermometers that you're talking about. So I can just keep an eye on that, right? So maintaining the 400 degrees without it going over and setting it on fire. That's the trick. That's where I need to learn. And I'm still new to this gas grill thing. I probably, like, now let me ask you a question, Sterling. I've got 4 burners. Could I have done indirect heat? Like 2 burners on to keep the temperature up of the grill, but no oil dripping on fire to create flames? Would that be a good? I know that's how I cooked chicken one time. I did a bunch of chicken thighs on the grill, and that's exactly what I did. I did indirect heat and just used basically the grill like an oven. And you're telling me 400 is too high. If we go slower, then maintaining that temperature, without opening the grill or whatever. So that was the issue there. So I need to do more research. So. Okay, so I did sear it. I seared it on the stovetop. I have one of those flat cast iron deals that has the bumps on one side like a grill and a flat on the other. And I did that. I seared it. But evidently I didn't sear it good enough. So now it didn't turn out. Once I cooked the steaks, I cut it up into steaks and cooked it on the stove. Once I did that, it actually came out okay. And I probably lost about a half an inch all the way around it due to the charcoalness that was unedible. I almost said uneatable. And but the parts that were finished off the grill were actually pretty good. So I'm not willing to give up on it. Cook it 250 to 350. How do I maintain that temperature without setting things on fire besides searing? Is Walmart whipping cream bad? Look at the ingredients. They use carrageenan or Gewer gum, and that's what tears up your gut. The one in Missouri is, dude, it's like perfect, right? It's perfect. And it's a little bit breezy, but we didn't get it. Flirted with some rain yesterday. I thought we were going to get the tail end of that hurricane, but we ended up not getting hardly any rain. But we've been saturated with rain here for the last couple of days, which has been needed because the grass is starting to get brown and things are getting really dry, and now things are freshening up again. So here, begrudgingly, now Max Force, back to your question about Walmart whipping cream. It depends on your gut, but I do know that the Gewer gum and the carrageenan gum are not great for the gut, but that stuff's like far better for you than like Coffee Mate. So 250 won't ignite the grease. Indirect heat, yes. Okay, there we go. So get the grill up to 250, 300 with 2 burners and put it on the non-burner side. Okay, that's what I'll try next time. But the only place selling a decent tri-tip is Food for Less, and I don't have any plans on going there because I still got to get through the meat that I bought on that one video I made about price of meat and all that stuff. So, and every year for Christmas we do a brisket in the oven because I don't have a smoker, and I know that kind of eliminates my man card a little bit. So, oh well. Making an awesome offer. Let's trade housing sight unseen. No, thank you. We're happy here in Missouri. It's funny when people go, "Oh, I'm in Missouri." Whatever, dude. I-40, I-26, I-81, Tennessee closed. Yes, that is a bad situation. We talked about that earlier in the feed flatbed. So yeah, Monday morning I'll probably go live on the big channel and talk about that because Yeah, I know. I spoke to the gas grill. Wood chips. Yeah, I know. Um, yeah, because you described that process yesterday. I'm still experimenting. For the most part, what I'm cooking on the grill is like some hamburgers and some steaks. That's pretty much it. Do not visit anywhere South Georgia for the next century. Yeah, that's probably some good advice. I was watching some of the. It's tough. You know what? It's tough getting like legitimate news on the damage reports. Like you got people like they talk to one family member and how sad they got it, which is sad. I agree, but what's the overall damage? You know, what's the overall situation? Um, and how does it affect me? How does it affect commerce? How does it affect? Um, it's sad that people lost their lives and lost their livelihoods, and that's going to be a huge mess to sort out. But you know, um, I need some information on because what does the area need? Like maybe I can get loads of water or get loads of generators down there. You know what I mean? Did you lose your house, Buck Brown? People fixing it don't have time to report. That's true. Yeah, CNN. I turn on. I made the mistake of turning on one of their feeds, and it was just like complete like drama, and they've been known to do that. Like they've been known to like take the worst looking house, and like, oh, look how bad things are, and but not giving you the rest of the picture. And that's how most news outlets, even Fox News, will do that kind of stuff. Not the worst that's ever happened lately. Oh, big dog one's out. Come on out. Come on out. Dog's like, man, I gotta go bathroom. Speaking of grills, I got 2 propane tanks I gotta turn in here. I've got this one tank from 2008. Um, I'm just gonna like do the transfer on that one. Um, because U-Haul won't fill it up. So even though it looks exactly the same. Oh, we don't fill any tanks that are older than 10 years for safety reasons. You heard it was mostly peaceful. Um, my company put an alert. I'll take lumber, anything you can haul on flatbed down there. There you go. What GDP go up without having imports come in? I don't know. I'm not an economist, Marty. That's a Sage is a great resource for that stuff because he's been doing the whole export import thing about Trump for the last I don't know month. So all right, guys and gals, thank you for spending your part of your Saturday morning with me. Buck Brown, we'll say some prayers for you. I'm sorry what you're going through. Um, you know, it's tough. I've never been in that position, so I don't think I can. I'm not going to say. I can't say. There's nothing I can say that's going to comfort you. Um, yes, it's material stuff. You do have your life, and that's good, right? Um, please don't live in fear, everyone. Even though that's what the world and the devil wants you to do. So, anyways, straight for today, over tomorrow. Peace.